Today I'm going to paint an easy little watercolour with you, but I'm actually going to do it twice. First time round I'll be using the Winsor Newton watercolours I first learnt to paint with. You could call them my first love. And then I'm going to do the same thing again with Kuretake, which came on the scene much later. Even though I painted them myself, I was surprised by the result. Let's take a look at how it happened. So in front of me here I've got two different, very different types of watercolour paint. I've got a Winsor Newton Gentleman's palette, and here I have got a selection of greens from my Kuretake 48 set. Question is, which one do I start with? Shall I start with this one or with this one? This one is going to be more difficult than this one because painting this way, what you have to do is you have to mix all your greens. This, on the other hand, is only half of the greens that are in the Kuretake set, and they're already mixed for you, so you can just go ahead and paint straight away. So let's start. These colours are the colours that I have selected for this painting from here. We've got Viridian or Hooker's green, which is this one here. We've got cadmium yellow, which is this one here. We've got phthalo blue or Winsor blue, which is this one, and French ultramarine, which is this one. And this one is gamboge, genuine. And this is Scarlet Lake, which is an orangey red. And I probably will try to use that for some tinting into the greens to get some different greens. You see, this is much more complicated, really. I'm not going to pre-wet these. I'm just going to paint wet on dry. And I'm going to start with a bit of this, but I don't want to use that neat like that without any anything added to it. With this kind of painting, you rarely do use the colours straight from the tube, so to speak. I'm going to add some yellow to that. So we'll go into the cadmium yellow and give ourselves a nice fresh green. And maybe we'll paint one in the front here. Something I always like to do when I'm doing this kind of painting is to add another colour to it, to what I've mixed here. So I might add a little bit of blue to change it a little bit, and then we might just drop in a bit of blue here and there, and that's going to give us, you know, a bit more variety in the colour. I won't paint another one next to it because I'm not aiming to have it, mingle. Okay, now I've just taken a little bit of phthalo blue and I've added it to what I had before. And that's given me a nice turquoise colour, I think I would say, a palish kind of turquoise colour. And because this is Arches paper and this is good quality transparent watercolour paint, you won't get too much in the way of run back. But what you will get is a dye back, that is to say, a fading after it's dry. So make the most of it while it's wet and paint it a little bit darker than you want it to turn out in the end, if you care about that. Don't put two colours together that are the same tone. So we might add a little bit of red to that and make it into a bit more green, perhaps, quite a bit more green. We've gone a little bit blackish there. So I think I'll add a bit of blue and then I'll try it out on my desk. Okay, so we've got a dark forest green there now. So that's what happens when you add red. And this Scarlet Lake is, you wouldn't believe it really, but you add a bright reddish orangey colour and you get a really dark forest green, I think you would say. Okay. Let's go a bit lime again. I'm going to go into a new pot now because I've got probably 3 or 4 pigments in there. I'm going to go cadmium yellow and ultramarine. That should give us a soft green. And if it's too similar or you don't want it to be the same as the one below, it isn't really, is it? It's not really the same. it's the same kind of tone, but it's less blue. So that's okay. And then let's take this one and put just a little bit of this in to get a sort of turquoise, I'm hoping. A bit more blue, perhaps. There we are. And we'll go back to the green and darken it down a little bit. Maybe we put that there. And perhaps we'll go for a sort of greyish blue in the middle. Now the fun of this, the reason why this is a popular way of painting and is fun, is that your colours will surprise you and they'll come from nowhere and you'll think, oh, I bet I can't do that again. So, yeah. So what I'm doing at the moment now is basically using up what I've already mixed because I'm just being economical and this is just play. But I want one or two a little bit darker. So let's grab some of this orange, see what that does. And let's have another green one back here. And a darker one here, perhaps. Doesn't matter if your lines are a bit wonky because we can go over those afterwards with a pen if you want. There's a lot of ways you can do this. And down the front here, let us have a little bit more. Oh, yes, that's a bit more viridian. We'll make that and a bit of that to make a really good, strong, dark blue. Green. Who said I was colourblind? So that's a mixture of phthalo blue and Hooker's green, or Winsor green. They're the same. And that's more or less dry back there. I think I want a bit more contrast here. I'm going to go over this one. Not to be recommended, but I'm going to do it anyway. Make it a little bit darker. And yeah, I think that's okay. Now what I want to do next is to dry it. And then I'm going to mix up a light green with some yellow. Let's try the lemon yellow and a bit of blue. And then I'm going to paint with a slightly bigger brush, I think. I think I might want a bit of ultramarine in that as well. You can be quite, I think you can be quite varied with, you can add 3 or 4 different pigments because these are single pigment paints mostly. So we have a nice bluish green here. And what I want to do is just link all these trees with more circles. I'm just going to very lightly go over the bits that are blank, where I've left gaps, because I left those on purpose. And you can see that the paint is completely transparent. So when you paint over it, you get other colours underneath showing up. And this is the beauty of transparent, completely transparent watercolour, really. So you can just get an extra bit of depth there. So I'm not going to do any more than that. And now we're going to dry it off again. Now, you remember that we said that we were just playing here. So we'll put away our fancy paints and we'll go to some gold. This is the gold from Schminke, which comes as a powder. It's called Aqua Bronze. You mix it up, put some powder in a little dish like this, mix it up with water, and even after it's dried off, you can still reactivate it. And it's a nice, rich gold that you can use to embellish your paintings. So maybe we'll start in the front here, and I might do one of my favorite shapes, which is basically a branch with some golden leaves on it. It has to be said that although the gold pens and the white pens are very convenient, they can also be somewhat irritating because sometimes they don't flow. So I'm going to put some dots on here too. Pretend that's pollen. There's enough pollen in the atmosphere here. Then I might just use a bit more of it, maybe up here in the distance. I'm using about a size 5 round brush here. We might put just some little circles on here, like that. And maybe over here, we might do a branch like this. Do whatever comes to mind. The beauty of doing something small like this is that you can do it on your lap. You can do it in bed. You can do it anywhere. It doesn't matter. You don't need a lot of space. I don't have a lot of space. I was complaining yesterday that I don't have enough space in my studio. I was in a frustrated mood because I've acquired a lot of paints and various materials over the last 5 years, and I've only got a relatively small studio, and it's full. I'm going to put some dots in here too. Remember, or do you remember the golden apples? I think it was Jason and the Argonauts or something. Don't remember. Could have been something else. Tell me, please, if you know. The myth of the golden apple. Was that Jason? I don't know. Anyway, so there we are. That's the gold, I think. Now, something you can do if you want to, of course, is you could go around the outside of the... Now, is this going to work? You can go around the outside edge of some of the trees using a white acrylic or watercolor pen. This is Molotov acrylic twin called One for All. It's got a thick end. It's got a thick end and a thin end, so you can get 2 different thicknesses of line. That's the thick one. That's the thin one. Okay. So this is actually probably the best white pen that I've found. Yeah, so I recommend that. I'll put information in the description below. And I might go around a few of these with this pen. Might do a darker one there, thicker one there, perhaps. And that will sort of cover up my pencil lines. Okay, don't know how this is going to look when it's done. Now, let me see, what should we do up here? Tell you what, I'll go back to the brush, which I hope is clean, and I'm going to take some more colours. I swear, it is much, much more taxing doing it where you have to mix all your colours yourself. There's no doubt about it, but it's possible. Okay, sorry about the dogs barking in the distance. I don't know what is getting into them today. So we can do that, and then I might take a bit more of the ultramarine, and what should we do down here? Let's just do some leaves. And we'll go for some green. I think I might do a branching thing here. And maybe we'll put some. This one needs white on it, I think. One of my favourite designs to do is just 5 dots with one in the middle. I think this is quite a good classic. It's a bit like the spiral, which we'll do in a minute. Something very, I don't know, rewarding about doing these. Something like that. And maybe over here, perhaps we'll do a lot of spirals in this one. Okay, save this one till last and probably make a mess of it. Let's do little vertical lines up here. And I think I'm going to do some dark green, a little bit more of that. I can't say these colours aren't strong. They are. And then we want some blue in the middle. I think I will probably use a gold pen. Will I use a gold pen? Yeah, let's just do some circles like this. And then maybe a white dot in the middle, just a tiny one. And you can see how, because I went over it with a second layer of transparent paint, you can see that the whole thing has a lot more depth and is more interesting than it would otherwise have been. What colour have I got here? I've got green. I'm going to do vertical leaf shapes here. Have I missed anybody? No? Well, we could take the white, the fine white pen. I mean, you can carry on with this. We can link all of these. Like that. We could even put veins on these using the pen very fine. We could outline some of these with dots. Every time you add an embellishment, it makes the whole thing sort of richer and more tapestry-like. We can add little tiny circles to this one. We could outline these circles, some of them perhaps, with white, like that. We could put little dots at the top of these berries here. This is where you get to relax and just enjoy. This one looks a little bit pale, so I'm going to take some more slightly darker bluey green and just go over some of my spirals with transparent paint, because they'll still show up. There we are. Okay, well, I'm going to call that one done, and we'll do the next one now in a completely different way. Take that off. I hope you enjoyed that one, but don't go away, because we're going to use the Kuretake paints now on the Arches paper, which I don't usually do. But there we are, and I'll find a little mount for this at the end so that you can see it, what it would look like if it was framed. So pop that over there, and I've got another piece here. Make sure the paint on the right side of it. That looks rather smooth, and this has got a bit more texture. So I think that's the right side. Okay, so we'll do the same thing again. We'll grab some washi tape from somewhere. Let's use green this time. I don't think I really need it up the top. Let's just see whether that's the same size. Yeah, my original was this size. Actually, just need to go a bit further that way. And straighten that up. Oops. There we are. Okay, so we'll get rid of this. And we will bring in this and this. Right, so here I have the selection of some of the greens from the Kuretake 48 set. We've got olive green up the top, forest green, hooker's green, turquoise green, malachite green, and yellow green. And we're going to paint these freehand this time, I think, and then we'll embellish them in the same kind of way as we did before. Not necessarily using the same designs, but somehow similar. Now, the thing is, a lot of people say these are, what do you call it? Actually, I think I will draw it. A lot of people say these are not transparent, that they're like gouache. Well, they are and they aren't. They can be, if you don't use very much water, quite like gouache, although they're not the same. They're not made in the same way, but they have the same kind of semi-opaque. Whoops. Oh dear, I'm losing it. I've just dipped my pencil in my water. What next? I'll push that over there. I'm just going to have another go at drawing my shapes quickly. And anyway, so I was saying, there is a lot of dispute, a lot of argument going on about Kuretake in the wonderful world of art. And the thing is, they have changed the formulation. So I think we need to give them a break, because if somebody improves their product, they shouldn't be constantly being reprimanded for something that was the case before. And they have taken out from most of the colours, and all of the colours in the 48 set now are basically vegan. They don't contain, according to what they say. So can we believe them? I don't see why not. We believe a lot of the things that we see on television and so on. So why wouldn't we believe Kuretake when they say that their paints are now vegan up to a point? So well, let's do that, you know, and we'll just go with the flow. So let's see what we've got here. Okay, can you see all of this? Yes, you can. So I'm going to basically use the same idea, but I'm not using any yellow. Okay, I'm just going to use these colours here, and because there are 6 greens, well, let's just go with that, shall we? Let's start with malachite down here. Okay, we'll put the malachite in here because it's a bit off. I can't see. The lights suddenly got much stronger. Let's put a bit of this in too and get a nice bluish green. You can see when you watch that go onto the paper that is somewhat more opaque, but that is not necessarily a bad thing. When it comes to embellishing, when it comes to getting brightness in your paintings, why would it be a bad thing if it was slightly opaque? It's just tradition. It's tradition that has served its purpose and is still serving its purpose, and no one is going to be resenting that, but it has to be said that painting with Kuretake paints is easier. It is. I'm sorry. It is easier. I'm just going to try and leave a tiny gap there. I missed it there. It's bled. Never mind. You can probably tell right from now, from this point, that we're going to get a different sort of effect. I'm trying to water the paint down as much as I can, so it's as watercolory as it could be. I'm going to mix and mingle as I go along. Because this is one of the things that Kuretake, in my view, really excels at, allowing you to do that. And it's not going to be easy to get subtle colours out of this lot, but the olive green is pretty subdued. And if that is that not very similar to this colour here? It is, isn't it? And how did we get that? We mixed phthalo blue with Scarlet Lake. So blue green, phthalo green with Scarlet Lake. That gave us an olive colour. Okay, and then we had a sort of, I used on this one a kind of bluish colour. We're not going to get much of a blue, but that's about the nearest we're going to get, I think. Maybe I'll add a bit of that to it. And see, that is pretty much transparent. And I'm going to do the same transparent circles over the top of it, just to see how that works. Let's make this one nice and green. Okay, what's that? I haven't used that yet. That's a lovely rich, that's Forrest Gump green, isn't it? Yeah, that's a nice colour. If the dog starts barking again, I'm going to get up and go outside and tell him what's what. I'm going to add some of this yellow green to something. And as you can see, I've reverted to my usual haphazard method of mixing more or less randomly as I go along. It's what makes me happy. I can't help it. I'm really wanting a grey at the back here, but I can't mix it from these greens that I've chosen. So I'm just going to steal a little bit of Scarlet Lake and try to mix something a bit more greyish. It's not quite what I was aiming for. Yeah, I wanted something neutral for the distance, but that's not quite what I wanted. Let's steal some blue. Yeah, that's what it was I wanted. I should have put a blue in with my greens that I chose from the Kuretake set, if I really wanted. So, you know, you have to mix and mingle. You have to. So there we are, nearly finished. Right, so now I'm going to mix up a light colour from this. I think probably I'm going to have to use this. Although you can see quite clearly that that's got body colour in it. I'll just dry this first. Okay, so while I was doing that, I had a little think, and I think I'm just going to use some very watered down malachite for my circles over the top. And I don't think they're going to work as well, but they will, to a certain extent, unify the whole thing. But this is the part that is better done, I think, using transparent watercolours, traditional transparent watercolours. It's not, I suppose that's probably what people are complaining about when they say they're not the same as watercolours. They are watercolours, but they're not the same as traditional watercolours. That's the point. I think I just need a little bit of tape. Where did I put it? To hold it down because it keeps popping up. Okay, so for the last one, previous one, we started, I think, with gold, mixed from this aqua bronze. So I'm going to do the same, try and do the same again. Roughly. So we'll do that up here. And some dots for the seeds of pollen. And I put just circles up here, didn't I? And then on this one over here, I did a tree's branching branches. There we are, and I also put some little dots there too. In the description below, I will put links to the paints and all the materials that I used, in case you are missing something and you need to invest in some new paints. And don't forget also that if you are a member of either our YouTube membership club or our Patreon, this month I've been painting an extra video every single day for members for our challenge, which we do every month. And all being equal, all things being equal, let's say assuming I'm not ill or anything like that, I do put up an extra video, usually about 10 to 20 minutes long, every single day for members. So if you are a member, you'll get a video every single day, plus the normal ones that we put out as well. So for €4, $4 or £4 roughly a month, that's something you might want to consider if you're serious about learning to paint, or you don't have to be serious about it. You might just want to fill your time with something peaceful, and you will never find anything on my videos that's too disturbing. Occasionally I might have a little bit of a moan, but not very often. I think that belongs in other places, kind of thing. So yeah, now I'm going to just water that down a bit and add a bit of that, I think, for this one down here, because that had kind of big leaf shapes on it. And the last one. And there are links to those things I just spoke about there in the description below. Let's put here, I'm going to change it a little bit from what I did before. I think I'm going to what am I going to put? I think, oh yeah, we're going to put some circles up here. Oh, that's pretty radical. Lime green on blue, how about that? Okay. And I'm going to go for my gold pen and put some nice, big, evenly sized circles on this one. And up here, we'll go for some spirals, but I'm going to make them quite big. And I think I need to find my white pen, and I'm going to do some dots on this one. The colour of this one, by the way, is called Nature White, not natural white, but nature white. And where's my white pen gone? Here it is. We'll join up these ones here like we did before. This pen seems to have decided to work. I complained about it publicly, and I've obviously shamed it into behaving itself, because it is now suddenly started working. And oh yes, we had, oh yeah, and I tell you what, I put the circles on here, so I'll put tiny white circles on here. It'll probably stop now, since I mentioned its name, which is Uniball White Gel Pen. Okay, so on this one, yeah, what are we going to do? Oh, I know what I haven't got. I haven't got this yet. My 5-part. I just bought a new sewing machine. I did. I bought a new sewing machine to take with me next time we go travelling. And because I need to make some curtains, because we had them made and they didn't work out, so I decided I could do better myself. So I've just bought a new sewing machine, which is, I think it was about 150 euros or dollars or whatever from Lidl, and it's really good. I was quite surprised. I'm going to just go around this one to give it a bit more shape, and I'm going to do some vertical lines. It's better that I have an old Bernina, which I bought nearly 40 years ago. It still works really well, but I think technology has probably improved since then, because this one is much more stable and it goes faster, and it it doesn't rock on the table, which is a good thing. And yeah, it's good. It's easy to thread and everything, or as my mother would have said, threadle. I can't threadle the machine, Arthur, she used to say on a regular basis. Right, I'm just putting some nice branches in here using paint. Put some leaves on the ends. And I think we've come pretty much to the end now of our journey. So this is what happened when I did the same painting using two totally different types of paint. Traditional transparent watercolor and Japanese traditional watercolor, that's to say Gansai Tambi. And I know before anybody who's a bit of a, I know more than you do, you probably do, but I also do know that it was meant for a certain kind of painting which is of Japanese origin, but they've decided they want to share it with the West, and why shouldn't we have it? I don't know. It's watercolour though. It is, because it activates with watercolour. So there we are. I used two different kinds of paint, and honestly, to be quite honest, I can't tell the difference. Now it's finished. Can you? So I'll leave you with that thought, and I'll let you go, and I will see you again very soon, probably on Tuesday. Or if you become a member, you will see me every day. Well, you won't see me because I'm not interesting, but you'll see my paintings. We'll think about this, shall we? Because I'm as surprised as you are. I can't tell the difference. Truly. I've forgotten already which one's which. So bye-bye, everyone. I'll see you soon. Bye now.